I would like to congratulate Adeleke. He was up against Leviathan. The odds were, yes, monumental. And for him to have, succeeded in, pulling through is highly commendable. I also commend Nigerians at large, all Nigerians. There was a mini war in one part of the country that if things had turned topsy-turvy, it would affect everybody. It was that part of Nigeria that Nigeria began to burn in 1965 when the election was held. And it led to the collapse of the First Republic. The fires were still burning when that coup took place on the 15th of January, 1966. A similar pattern developed in 1983 in the aftermath of that election. So when I began to hear all of this around the Elisha axis, NUK, Ibarra, and all that. Exactly. Wena and the rest of them. Yes, I became very worried. Fortunately, the elections are come and gone. I align entirely with the submission of Barrister Ologun that those who threatened must be brought to justice. You can't say kill them. I mean, what are people looking for? Is it more than this money that... What are people looking for? For who you say kill them? Take a life? From there, I want to broaden to say, Nigerian politicians, please be...
said it was quoted out of...
No, it was not. But Barrister Ologun said it, and that was the point I've been making all the while. There was a... The context itself is that some people have been killed, and not with votes. Yeah, so that is the context. And so if you are saying some people have been killed and killed them, it couldn't be votes. I mean, we are not idiots. They must follow this matter to a logical conclusion. When, you see, it's well established. When law enforcement is weak, people are emboldened to break the law. If the law takes its course this time, the next man who wants to do a thing like this will think twice before doing it. That is why we are advocating that justice must be done on this matter. It doesn't matter how, that elections are come and gone. So I congratulate Adeleke and his team, the sense of relief, a sense of excitement, a sense of triumph, and I will also add there should be a sense of humility so that, the state can be stabilized and then they can move on. Incidentally, so many people are, congratulating him. Atiku has, Obi has, everybody has. They even forgotten about their own candidates for the election. They are all congratulating the man. And even APC, president has, called him to congratulate him. I was surprised. Keyamu too called, say, he's praising him and say, man of integrity. Adeyanju who is masquerading as just an APC person. He should just say, come out to say I'm APC. Not all those, there's nothing, it's prestigious to be an APC member. Why is he hiding? He also praised him and said, I'm afraid whether he will not support the president. You see, this is the story. Yeah. The man actually wanted to join APC. The president wanted him to join. The powers that be in the state, the man who contested, Surajuddin Bashiru, who is the secretary of APC, they went and blocked him. So the president has no problem with him, actually. It is these powers that be. And now that he has floored them, the man is free to support anybody he actually wants because they came together to knock him off. If they had knocked him off, I will be out of the place. So now that he managed to survive, he's free to support anybody. If he wants to support President Tinubu, fine. Anybody else wants to support, he's free. He will not be under any ethical baggage if he decides to support anybody else. He just came out of nowhere and then he has now won the election.
Out of nowhere, like?
I mean, push through.
Incumbent is not out of nowhere.
Do you know how many governors were there?
But the point is, the governors, and I think this is also very important, the governors were there abusing him.
Yes.
It's a civil service state. The man cleared, and this is why I keep saying I'm not quite sure what APC was offering to the people of Osun. He cleared salaries and pensions that the last two APC administration did not pay. So my point is, when the governors now come there to make noise, abuse him, freeze their accounts, send in police, you have APC people saying they want to kill people. What do you think that does to people's minds?
Yeah, it's...
he's now free to come to APC like Fubara.
He shouldn't do that. He shouldn't do that.
That does not concern me. What to add to it is that he now has to pay back the support of Osun people.
By developing this.
Yes, people are talking about support for 2027. That's of little relevant importance to me. Now you have won. People came out. They came out to support you. All the forces were against you, and now you have triumphed. What do you have for the people?
Yes.
Education. There was one advert that was running on Arise. I hope that I don't know whether that was running. That was the APC candidate put there that it sacked teachers and all that. Well, I don't know the details. He has to focus, ensure that education, that's the highest, the investment you do that will bring the highest return. Health. Then, of course, agriculture. That state is, we love agriculture, of course. Then, infrastructure.
And then
mining. Mining is also there, which we don't really, the details, but he has to also focus, ensure that the state gets maximum, value for the minerals there. And, of course, infrastructure. He has done a whole lot on that. He needs to expand that so that the quality of life of Osun people can be raised by his administration. All this 2027 thing and all that, anybody is free to support anybody.
And let the dance continue.
Yes, the man dances. They've been laughing at him like dances.
No, now the dancing time has just begun. I'm looking forward to the special moves that the governor will make.
Yeah. And the man knows how to play body very well. He dances well. It's just that we should be perceptive. The occasions that are solemn, you don't need to dance. But happiness is free. Let him dance if he wants to dance. Anyway, but he should ensure that he focuses on governance of Osun State in a manner in which the quality of life of Osun people will be raised. Then the local government autonomy and the rest of it, I personally feel that the Supreme Court was wrong in that the Supreme Court does not exist to make laws. It exists to interpret laws. The best way, it was the last point the suggestion you made, that is, go and amend the Constitution, Section 162, so that joint accounting will no longer be there, and then you'll be free to, ensure that local government gets their money directly. As long as that provision is still there. What were they interpreting? They were trying to usurp the function of, the lawmakers. And there is no other way. Lawyers they may be squeamish, they may be finicky about, they don't want to say Supreme Court is wrong, but we are not lawyers. Exactly. And we are not idiots. Yes. It was a wrong, that's why they can't enforce. Isn't it an embarrassment now to the Supreme Court that he made the ruling that nobody can enforce? I agree with you can't enforce it. It's unenforceable. So where they ought to have started from, which is, go and amend that section so that the local councils can get their money directly. But again, there's also a problem in that, which is it now becomes local councils to federal government. In fact, how to prevail on the states to ensure that local government get their money is actually the neatest approach. Local governments, 774, they only get 20%, 20.8 something percent of the money. The states get 26.7 something percent. So states are just 36, local government 774.
When you add administrative charges that the state governments also put on it, they even get more than this.
Exactly. So
they add administrative charges.
Yes. The best way is to just prevail. You only 36 of you get 26% of the total amount. That's already enough. Let the local government get their money. To prevail on them, it will remove this issue of trying to hijack. It will remove this issue of the contradiction of federalism and all the rest of it. That is just the best way. Every other...
In some states, the states help the local councils to spend the money.
No, that is just what virtually all the states. They just give the local governments what they think.
Just to pay something.
Yes, just to think is right for them. And that's it. That shouldn't be the case. So the gentlemanly thing actually is to get the states to do what they're expected to do so that, this debate as to whether they should get money directly or not.
It's just a reminder that the political class are one and the same. Mr. Adeleke said it during the town hall that we had. That he has friends in APC and that they call him. And so if you can be APC in the morning, Labour in the afternoon, Accord at night, we also need to remember that when people choose to want to put their lives on the line. And I think it's an interesting thing for me how the president is also playing this. The president has called to congratulate Adeleke. Mr. Adeleke is waiting for the APC candidate of the same party as the president to call. It's the same president that told EFCC to pull back when EFCC froze Osun State accounts. So Mr. Adeleke has nothing but high praise for the president. And furthermore, he's already declared that he's supporting the president for a second term. You have Mr. Omishore, who was still in APC, but because of the way he's been treated by the party, the allegations that some of his people worked for Accord in Ife. But I say all that to say that this whole thing about party loyalty, it's quite fluid. And also back to the way the president is playing this, and this is the point I was trying to tie to. Mr. Fadaunsi that threatened people and said people should be killed. House of Rep, APC's House of Rep candidate in, where is this now? In Felodun, who said, if you're not voting for APC, don't come out. None of those people have been sanctioned by the party. I have not read a statement, maybe I missed it, but I have not read a statement by the party saying that what they had said was completely unacceptable. But the president is being praised for saying that he supports free and fair elections. There's a clear contradiction, for lack of a better word, in those actions. And we should not miss it, because the president is playing a very clear president of the nation in one lane, in one breath. But in another breath, his party is clearly misbehaving, violating laws, threatening people with death. And he, as the president of the nation, has not said anything. And I don't think we should miss that. Secondly, I want to really commend the Arise team for the town hall that was hosted for the Osun elections. I mean, the candidates didn't want a debate, but they did make the leading candidates did make themselves available for the town hall. And I think, as some people have said, it actually helped Mr. Adeleke, in my view, because in 2022, he avoided all of those things. But by now, I think he was confident in the things that he had done, and he then decided to show up and have a conversation. Now, a lot of the narrative around the outcome of the election seems to be that if Accord hadn't won, then the election would not have been free and fair. And I want us to be very clear about that as well. In my view, it's not because Accord won that people are saying the will of the people's votes counted. It's simply because nobody has said they were rigged. APC has not woken up and said the elections were rigged, we're going to court. And so I think for me, we need to be very clear that it's not because of the outcome or because a particular party won, but because the results came out, people were confident that their votes counted, and nobody has raised an alarm that the elections were rigged. And this then ties into the conversation around voter turnout, massive voter turnout, very inaccurate, and the data speaks to it. In 2022, if we use PVCs collected, so voter turnout relative to PVCs collected, 54.2% of Osun people came out to vote in 2022. In 2026, it's 52.8%. It's actually less. However, if we use registered voters, not PVCs collected, in 2022, it was 42.1%, and then this year, it was 43%. So slightly higher. So the pattern is not an aberration from what happened at the last election. And then lastly, the issue of federal might and how, the conversation around that was debunked from the governors that came to the police. Again, as Mr. Garba said, let's also be very clear. This is an off-cycle election. By the time it's 2027, we won't have all of those pieces at play. And we need to be very mindful of what that looks like for the elections. To former Vice President Atiku and the lawsuits, no comment. But on the issue of the local government, I said this when that judgment came out 2 years ago, that what I believe the Supreme Court did was a clear violation of the Supreme Court, and no one really should clap for it. Though Dr. Abati kept telling me that I cannot say that the Supreme Court was wrong, but the law, the Constitution is very clear. But what has also happened is that because the government that, in a sense, pushed for that judgment, then realized that it was a challenge to enforce, they've been very quiet. Because at the end of the day, and then again, the contradiction, in one vein, the president gets credit for trying to push us to true federalism. So state police and a few of the other things that he's done that shows our power, I think, is another thing, so that more states have more independence. But you then take this thing of money and you then want to control it from the center. How does that help true independence? And secondly, that then means that our local governments will constantly have to be in our constitution because they are, in a sense, a federal creation, whereas they should be subunits of our states. So if And I mean, again, Mr. President, you did this when you were in Lagos. It was while you were in Lagos that you created LCDAs out of local government because you thought the local governments were not enough to deal with what you needed to deal with as governor in Lagos. A few of the other Southwest states then followed suit. So with that logic, the states should have power to create local governments so they don't need to be in the Constitution. And we don't need to amend the Constitution when we want to carve this thing out. So again, the contradiction again from Mr. President, one vein, a champion for quote-unquote federalism, in another vein, a champion for what he can control from the center.
Okay.